Well, Paradox Entertainment isn't done making waves with their resurgence of White Wolf. On July 10th, they announced that Jess Lanzillo would be stepping into the role of creative director for their various product offerings. Lanzillo is coming off her freshman year as vice president of franchise and products for Dungeons & Dragons at Wizards of the Coast. This hiring took place a couple of months ago, at least according to Jess's LinkedIn profile, but was just announced. A fairly reasonable timeline for a transition for someone in a vice president position. And that likely means that it wasn't an acrimonious split from Wizards of the Coast, which is always nice because you don't want to make enemies in the industry in which you're making your living. Prior to her promotion to the VP job at Wizards of the Coast, Lanzillo was the creative director for Magic the Gathering, and that's where she made most of her bones in the industry. Starting in 2017, heading up various projects and new card sets, etc., she worked her way up to creative director. So, how did she fare in her creative director role for Magic the Gathering? Well, gaming revenue for MTG for Hasbro was $1065.2 billion, and in 2023 it was $1085.8 billion. That's a nice little jump. However, 2024's revenue was down by 1% because they didn't have an adequate follow-up to that Lord of the Rings card set. Now, what do we know about her time as the VP at D&D? Well, one of the major things is the failure of Sigil, that virtual tabletop. Now, I doubt we could lay that at her feet, but it is one of those things that just didn't work out. And how much she had to do with it, we don't really know. However, in a lot of corporate environments, initiatives get sponsored. An initiative doesn't get money unless it has a high-up corporate sponsor, which is generally VP level. So someone will come up with an idea, then they'll pitch it to a VP, and that VP then takes it to the board and champions it through its life cycle, and most importantly, grabs funding for it. But things don't always work out as you plan. And if reports are accurate, there was another virtual tabletop on at the same time, of which neither was aware of the other. You gotta love big corporations. Nobody knows what the heck they're doing sometimes. Now, from a purely outside perspective, this looks like a move that puts her back into the creative world. VPs are not the most creative positions. There's project management, there's finances, there's sponsor this, sponsor that. You're not doing the design of games and high-level concepts. You have a creative director that does that for you. And if her LinkedIn profile is to be believed, that's what she loves. Everything from vampire LARPing, cosplay, etc. And let's hope she brings that enthusiasm to bear and gives us really great products. This, of course, will have no bearing on Bloodlines 2, as it is way too late in its development cycle, and its release is coming up in October. We hope. And with Paradox Interactive bringing her in, it would signal that they are serious about their White Wolf resurrection. Now, of course, a wonderfully cynical outlook on this would be that she's jumping ship from Wizards of the Coast, just like Chris Perkins and Jeremy Crawford, who both moved over to Dungeons & Dragons direct competitor Darrington Press, Critical Role's publishing house. I mean, D&D isn't going away anytime soon, but their year-over-year revenue from 2023 to 2024 and into 2025 is not great, and the growth is very, very minimal. They took quite a hit during the pandemic, but they bounced back in 2023, but barely grew in 2024. And there have been an awful lot of layoffs. I mean, with their OGL fiasco and the way they've run their various offerings and the types of offerings they've had, they opened the door wide as can be for Pathfinder to grab more market share and for Critical Role's Daggerheart to really start cleaning house. In fact, apparently, Critical Role can't even keep the Daggerheart books in stock. They're selling so fast. So here's hoping this all pans out for us in the future with new game. We don't end up with a woke fest bunch of garbage, and all that blather about in-house development through White Wolf actually pans out and we get even a Bloodlines 3. That is good. What are your thoughts on all these transitions? Leave us a comment below. And remember, if you like content like this, give us a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.